Okay, I'm Emily. I actually went to Ecuador this summer for 2 months. I had an internship with a nonprofit, and I worked on teaching English to school kids and community development. So this is Puyo. It's a Puyo. I'll say that. It's the city. It's about 33,000 people. It's in the Pastaza region of Ecuador, which is like the region near the Amazon. So the furthest east. This is the biggest city. There's about 33,000 people. It's really growing. Obviously, you can see it's very South American. This is a view from the rooftop of our the volunteer house. All the volunteer houses, or all the houses, really have this kind of sheltered roof on the top that overlooks the city. We were actually in one of the more wealthy neighborhoods of Puyo, so that kind of, you'll see that translates to this. This is a photo that I took right next to one of the schools that we worked in. It's in the more rural area. All the schools that we worked in were further away from Puyo, the main city. And this is an example of like the houses that the students we worked in lived in. These are actually, the one on the right is actually made of like cement, which is not very common. This is a picture that I took. It was about 5-10 minutes walk from one of the schools we were at. It's a view of the Amazon. As you can see, all the schools they were all really rural schools, right? So they were really located 5 minutes away from a waterfall and 10 minutes away from all these Amazonian trails. This is a picture of a bus stop at Díaz de Agosto, which is one of the schools we worked at. If you guys know Spanish, petroleras equals muerte. It's oil companies equals death. So it kind of shows the viewpoint of the oil companies in this Amazonian region. This is a picture of one of the schools we were working at. It was San Carlos. It's a very small, I think there might be like 20 students at this school, and that's from first grade to 7th grade. The schools are all, they're located very close together, maybe a few kilometers apart, and it's really like kind of a compound. All the, the community, all the houses of the students are really close to the school. These are 3 of the students we taught at a different esfuerzo, another school that we worked at. Basically, 5 days a week or 4 days a week, we would go to different schools and teach English, 1 school each day. 2 schools on Thursday. The volunteers would actually split and go to 2 separate ones to teach English. We did other activities with them, to teach them English. Some of them were more interactive with games. It was a fun exchange, actually, because we would tell them about one game, and then they would explain to us a different game, and then we would incorporate English into it. None of the students spoke English except for what we taught them, which was 1 hour a day, 1 day a week. So you can see that's not very much. I also worked in the school gardens. The project that I worked with was called Arohunio Road Project, and they had actually created all these gardens in the schools. 6 of the 8 schools that we taught English in also had school gardens. This is one of the more profitable gardens, and it's due to basically parent, teacher, director, student involvement. This is a picture of one of the schools that did not have as great of a garden, and that was really important because obviously the more vegetables, the more things that they were able to have, they were able to sell at the markets, use in the school lunches, things like that. So they were really trying to work on, getting more community involvement in them. Each Friday in Latin America, especially in this area of Ecuador, they had mingas, which is basically in Spanish, it's communal voluntary work. So all the parents, teachers, students would come out on Fridays to work together on a project. And sometimes it would be on the gardens that we were working on. This is an example. We were trying to teach nutrition, right? Because 94% of the schools do not actually have nutritional programs. So we were trying to kind of incorporate the gardens with the teaching of English. I created this Price is Right game where they had to put in order from least to most what they think was the nutritional value of the food, and then they got to see what it was, and then they got to take the food home. This is an example of their school lunches. Normally they get 1 meal a day from school. This is rice and beets. Very rarely is there actually fruits and vegetables in the school lunches. The only times there are is when it's from the gardens that we created. The government actually doesn't give them any fruits or veggies for lunches. We also got to learn about their culture. A lot of the students there were indigenous. So the Shuar, Quichua, which is the same as Quechua, Rwani, some of the indigenous groups. Culture is a big deal. And that was actually a Skype exchange with a New York elementary school. So that was a cool thing. We also taught community classes once a week. So this is Miguel, who gave palm readings, and that's how we would practice his English, is by giving us palm readings. So that was a really fun kind of thing for us to find out about our lives. He told me I was a traveler. We also did some community projects on the side. We sanded and stained a school building for one of the schools, and we actually sanded the entire building with just sandpaper, so like no handle, no like machine, nothing. But we also had some community members, students really helping out. We also did a world map. This isn't completed. I actually left right before we could complete it, but it was quite a process of like painting it, then gridding it out, then drawing on the grids. We actually used some Peace Corps materials that my director had in order to give this world map to the students. This is a girl that was in the video with the Skype. She actually sang during the Skype session in Quechua, and so that's my phone in her hand, and she's watching herself on the video singing. And so it was a really amazing opportunity because I don't know if I've ever seen, or I don't know if she's ever seen herself singing. And so her face just lit up. Some of the best parts of my trip was really like developing relationships with these students. The girl in the pink Crocs on one of my last days teaching, she came up onto the bus. She came up on the bus and sat on my lap because she had recognized me, and we talked a little bit about where I was going and where she was going. And then this is one of my favorite photos as well. They all love getting their picture taken and then looking at the pictures, but this guy actually wanted to look at the pictures and then was pressing the buttons on my camera to see what they did. And it wasn't just because he was pressing them, it was because he was like interested in photography. And so it was kind of one of those moments where I felt, I wish I could give them all cameras. I wish that, because they don't have access to that kind of stuff. But that was just one of those moments where you want to do more. So.